Two different days indeed. Duke had to battle it out against the #1 ranked team, Oklahoma, for their first game of the season. Nothing too heavy to start off a season
No.
quite like that, but it was a good game, I thought.
I agree with you. Duke did a phenomenal job throughout the course of that game, gave Oklahoma really their only challenge of the day, which, you don't want to take moral victories, but let's face it, if you're able to go toe-to-toe with the preeminent favorite, you did a lot of really, really good things, and Duke did, particularly in the circle. They were really impressive. They had the defensive play of the day out in right field. This is a Blue Devils team that is going to come into today extremely hungry.
Absolutely. I think Iowa State is going to come out pretty hot as well. I mean, they ended their game yesterday on a pretty high note, a 6-run inning to secure the run rule. They're ready to go. I think they have something to prove. We talked with Coach Pinkerton earlier last week, and he was talking about this team and just how there have been leaders who have stepped up and just taken it to the next level, and hoping that it's just not that one player, but whenever you have buy-in from 3 players, 4 players, 5 players, 6 players, that's all you need. You don't need 100% of the players to buy in. It's always nice whenever they do, but if you can have a core group of girls who buy in, your team automatically rises up to the next level. And that's what he's been saying. He's been seeing in this offseason.
Jaden Ralston in the circle today for the Iowa State Cyclones. 31 appearances as a true freshman. She threw 66 and 2/3 innings pitched. That's a common thread among these two teams. Freshmen that played exceptionally well, including Deanna Jennings, who goes after the first pitch she sees and sends it straight back. Jennings, so dangerous. Slap, bunt, stand in, whatever. The full toolkit made her one of the best average players anywhere in college softball. Watches that one.
The thing that I feel like I've seen from Duke quite often is they're wanting to get out early, wanting to attack first, get out in front, have that upper hand. Seeing a lot of short game being shown early on.
Brief bobble by Ranches, and that's the pressure, Nicole, that the speed of Deanna Jennings applies. You know you have to be so fast in every aspect, from transition to throw, and that one just gets ahead, and it's a leadoff single for the second straight day.
Now batting first base, 29, Giselle Tapia.
Giselle Tapia sends one foul. Looking to bunt for 2 straight hitters now. Pretty clear message from Duke. They are going to use that short game.
And we saw it against Oklahoma. It was almost predictable. Runner at first. Within the first 2 pitches, they scored around 4 different times.
Throw down, gets away. Deanna Jennings doing Deanna Jennings things. 21 stolen bases last year, and she'll swipe another.
And again, pressing that envelope, getting out in front, coming out swinging. You see that delayed swing and miss with the steal that late swing through, getting through the catcher's eyes.
Well hit and deposited all the way to the fence. That's an easy run scored for Deanna Jennings. It's a Tapia double and a Duke lead.
That ball left over the heart of the plate, and it was taken advantage of there. Tapia being able to send it deep into that gap. I've played on that field before, and those gaps, it feels like they stretch on for miles. So as an outfielder, you know if it gets past you, there's going to be a lot of girls running across the bases. And similar to the runner side, if you're a runner and you see it get in the gap, just keep going.
It's remarkable too. There were so many balls like that yesterday for Duke. Really hard hit, but just a little bit to the left or right, and they would never find the dirt or find the grass. That had to bring a pretty big sigh of relief, not only for Giselle Tapia, but really for this entire Duke attack. And now they've got to be thinking, hey, the floodgates are about to open. Gold watching the first pitch.
For me, I have Gold circled on my lineup. I think that she has been the most consistent bat for Duke in the 2023 season, and heading into this next year, I expect her to get that same production. Getting a lot of off speed, so I'm sure Iowa State has her start circled, underlined as well. This is a hitter that you have to be careful with. You have to be unpredictable to help give yourself the advantage and put her off balance.
Yeah, you don't have to look too far down the stat sheet. 19 home runs last year. That usually gets you right at the top of the scouting report after setting the Duke freshman record for bombs the year before.
She had a mid-600 OPS percentage. I mean, that's sky high. You love to see that.
Showing some discretion here as well. Already an early RBI chance for the heart of this Duke order.
That last changeup was beautiful. I love the way Iowa State is attacking her. That off speed, she wasn't ready for it. Ended up being a little too inside, but that was a great thought.
And it's outside. Constantly moving the eyes, but Gold followed it the entire way. 3 straight successful plate appearances for the Blue Devils brings up Claire Davidson. Alston can't catch
It's a
this
great
there
pitch
either.
on that corner. That's typically what happens when you're in a tournament, you're learning new umpires. You have to figure out the strike zone. Some umpires may prefer higher, lower strike zones. Some umpires may prefer certain sides of the plate. Just figuring out what it is that's a strike, figuring out what it is that's a strike within the plan that you have for this team that you're facing. And I think that's what this conversation right now is about. There's been a lot of misses, barely, inches, not even. And whenever you're facing a team like Duke, you can't afford to be throwing ball after ball after ball, because they're going to be patient. They're going to wait for you to make that mistake, pitch that ball over the plate. And Tapia, as we saw, had that hard hit to the fence with that double.
Kay Sinnott, the pitching coach for these Iowa State Cyclones. Coach Pinkerton is a veteran coach, and he's got all the faith in the world in his crafter of arms. Those two have been together a minute, poised to do some really, really good things in the Big 12 this year in the circle. And whatever was said works.
Well, that's a pitch that she threw just one pitch ago that just missed, right? Just missed on the corner. You bring it in that half an inch, and that's what you get. Great movement on it. The swing and miss on that screwball.
Into right. Oh, sees it the whole way. Bag it up. And still, even when it's an out, it's productive. Tapia and Gold both advance.
Now batting 17.
All of a sudden, the preseason All-American Amina Vega has 2 in prime position. Alston doing a good job there. His coaching staff certainly excited about her. That opportunity to build on the freshman year. Coach Pink straight up said, yeah, we want to see her even more this year, and she threw 66 innings last year. So she gets the top 10 start right away here on day 2.
I mean, that's the experience that you want to get, because within your own conference, you have Oklahoma, you have Oklahoma State, you have Texas. All 3 are ranked in the top 10. Those are quality teams right there.
There you can see why they're excited about this sophomore. Cyclone team that came into this tournament with so much momentum, winning 12 of their final 17 games last year. So we can go ahead and say 13 of their last 18, the Cyclones have won. And that takes an already very energetic Cyclone bench into even more. Anna Korn, no issue for Ranches.
Now batting the catcher, number 3, Kelly Torres.
Kelly Torres had a phenomenal defensive play yesterday for the Blue Devils, catching a ball up against the fence and firing it down to third base to turn 2. Right now, she'll look to add to the offense of the Duke Blue Devil attack.
I feel like we saw quite a few stellar defensive plays from several teams yesterday. It was fun getting to see this defense show out.
I mentioned it earlier. It was Kelsey Zampo who had the best play of the day. That play in right was absolutely absurd from the junior. But Duke had another couple
topped
that were really
maybe
nice.
only, yeah, topped only maybe by the iguana on the field. That might have been the play of the day.
I think that was the big takeaway for sure.
This change is starting to be spotted on both sides of the plate. Loving to see that mix and the willingness to throw it in any count.
And on top of that one, another hard hit ball. That 5-6 hole has been the friend of the Blue Devils. Good throw home to end it, but they do add one more. So Duke, a strong first inning of work, and they take the lead right out of the gate here in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
1 hit, 2 errors.
Back we come. The Duke Blue Devils get out to a 2-0 lead to start. And so now they get to be a little extra comfortable. They didn't get to play with the lead at all in yesterday's game. Very much the opposite now. A great throw home limited the damage, but still a huge opportunity. Danny Drogemiller, the transfer from Pitt, making her debut here for Duke. 19 wins, over 300 Ks when she was at Pitt. Only the third Panther to ever go 100 Ks in 2 years in a row. Coach Young saying she's just a workhorse in the circle. And Danny Duke on day 2 here in PV.
Leading it off, center fielder, double zero.
Meanwhile, Malaysia Ochoa coming off a huge day yesterday for the Cyclones. Leads things off. Danny's first new pitch to strike.
She's coming out hot and attacking. I love it.
That time went for the waist pitch, but you can already see the intensity. That is Danny's first Duke strikeout.
That is a nasty, nasty off speed on the inside half, especially considering she peppered that outside corner 3 times in a row with her screwball. Comes in with that changeup that looks flat all the way until the very end, and then it drops off. It's a great sequence from her.
And she comes right back with a second first pitch strike to Angelina Allen. Very clearly here, that Iowa State dugout. That's a point of pride for the Cyclones. Bringing the energy. Home, away, neutral site. We've got a lot of energetic teams in the sport for sure, Nicole, but Iowa State is right up there with the most fired up game in and game out.
Yeah, Washington is one of those teams that stays fired up. Iowa State, they stay loud in the dugout. Doesn't matter how cold, how hot, up or down. So consistent.
They'll have to bring the energy in this one. 2 quick runs scored by the Blue Devils.
I think it doesn't even have to be a 2-run response, but
that helps.
Just like that.
Right up the middle, and a 1-out base runner. Allen and the Cyclones.
Like I was saying, doesn't even have to be a 2-run response, but just some hits, getting on base, making Duke feel the pressure. That's the response that you want to see from Iowa State.
He's in Ranchez. Nothing but first pitch strikes thus far.
It's clear that screwball is the go-to. That's a pitch. You either want to sit on that pitch or you want to sit on the slow off of her. Great block there behind the plate by Torres. Talked about the great defensive play she made earlier yesterday. Another one right there. That saves the runner getting to second. That might save a run if a ball's hit up the middle, if it's through the infield, in the gap.
No rising action there. Tatum Johnson next. She's coming off a long ball in yesterday's contest. Suffice to say, when you score about 15 runs, just about everybody on I-State had a good day. Hit well, liner knocked down, and the finish there on the backside. Great backup by Vega to Tapia to salvage the out. Cyclones do have the runner in scoring position in Allen.
But going back to that block that Torres made behind the plate, that saved her from getting to second. Iowa State right now, if that didn't happen, Iowa State would have a runner on third with one out.
Just reaching out and poking it. Fortunate that went foul as Tatum Johnson. Johnson very clearly carrying over the momentum from the preseason. She was excellent in fall, great in the practices leading up to this Puerto Vallarta tournament. And then with the long ball yesterday, she's poised to be one of the strongest Cyclones here in the month of February. Feels like every corner so far, Danny's found. At that time, there was too much bend on it.
And I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. Yes, you want your pitcher to hit your spots, but whenever they're able to locate that corner, at the middle of the plate, but that corner so consistently, you're gonna see higher efficiency rates. You're gonna see batters starting to swing later in the counts when the pitcher's up, sort of expanding their own zone.
You gotta like this from the veteran catcher here in Kelly Torres. Going out, talking a little strategy with an extended plate appearance by Tatum.
3-2. You want to be sure this is the pitch. What are you feeling right now? Tell me what you want. You throw it, we'll get her out.
Payoff. Will miss. Throw down. Well done.
Iowa State with a little sneaky steal there on third. A walk with 2 outs.
Now batting first base.
Go ahead and take third.
Wasn't necessarily a bad throw either by Torres, but it is Cyclones at the corners for Carly Spellhog. First pitch strike. Messages we might be in for an offense type day after it was back and forth yesterday. Iowa State the exception perhaps, but we saw mostly pitching win it, particularly in Duke's game against OU. So far, a lot of base runners in this first inning. That's hit well, but foul.
I think both of these teams are excited to play each other for different reasons. Duke, they know that Iowa State, they're going to have a lot of top 10 games in the Big 12. They're going to be a solid team. They're going to have a good RPI ranking. Iowa State getting a win against Duke, that would be incredible to boost up their rankings as they start to get into this postseason and eventually into conference. But to get a non-conference top 10 win would be huge for them.
Romo is going to make that difficult. Comes home with a little off speed and saves the day. 2 Cyclones stranded, and Duke leads by that same amount. We're off to the second.
First inning for the Cyclones. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 runners left on base. We go to the top of the second inning. It's Duke 2, Iowa State nothing. With 4 decades of experience in producing only the best in the world of destination events, Triple Crown Sports wants to help you and your family get the most out of your investment in youth athletics. Whether it's giving young players a chance to compete against teams from around the country or giving older athletes a chance to hone their skills for the college game, we have the tournaments your family will never forget. Check us out, TripleCrownSports.com.
Both teams getting going quickly here in the batter's box. And so Jaden Ralston will just have to stem the tide. Try and keep this thing at 2, with both teams feeling themselves to start off our morning session.
So Iowa State threatening, and I talked about last inning, wanting to see them make their presence felt and respond by getting hits, by getting runners on base. Yeah, they didn't score, but you could feel them. So as these next few innings progress, their goal is keep the Duke's hits to a minimum. We talked about how great the bats were against Oklahoma, but it was just right to people. And they're hitting the ball hard right now. So defensively, we're seeing a few errors from Iowa State. So if they can clean that up, whenever the ball comes their way, I think we're going to see a lot of runs being minimized.
Kelsey Zampa, the defensive standout from yesterday, watches ball 1. Had some really good PAs too, but we talked about it in the first inning, and it bears repeating here. The play was absurd in right field. A full horizontal grab.
Nice pitch there, up and in on those hands, wanting to be able to make this Duke team make their own mistakes.
Kelsey in the driver's seat now. Already 20% of her start from last season, and only 2 games into the Duke year. 10 in the opening 9 in 2023. Now both of Duke's thus far. Kelsey Zampa poised for a breakout junior year. This one, though, she lifts a far ball, but it is just a fly out. Got it to the fence, not further.
Now batting the designated player, number 13, Francesca.
Just say for Ralston, those pitches, whenever she gets behind in the count, she has to start to bring them over the plate to get those strikes. That's whenever you see Duke having those swings like that. She's able to attack early in the zone. I think she'll be able to fool those Duke hitters by getting them to swing at pitches that maybe they don't necessarily want to be chasing after.
Frankie Freelich productive yesterday with a sack. And you have to imagine, too, sensing this is a young pitcher, the message in that Duke dugout was, hey, even if you think it's on the border, maybe just hold up a bit. Let's show some extra patience here and make the youngster try and work through it. And so far, the youngster Ralston says, okay, you're not going to swing. I'll just throw strikes.
Nice location there on the corner.
Good communication. Plenty of cyclones in the area. No issue for out number 2.
I love that location again. Pitch before was harder, right on that corner. Same location, but this time took a couple of miles off of that. You could see by that wave, Freelich kind of waving, going out in front, popping that one up.
Here's Jada Baker in the 9 spot, rounding out the Duke offensive set. Defense, meanwhile, behind Ralston. It's Allen in left, Ochoa in center, Gosen right. Miner and Ranchez the left side of the infield. Andrews and Spellhog on the right side. Miner Ralston the battery. A little bit early. Ralston knocked it down. That's all she could do. That was in a perfect spot for Jada Baker.
Love that effort from Ralston. As soon as she saw it, she went after it immediately. That was, like you said, in a perfect area, kind of no man's land. And right there, you could see just the tip of the glove.
Now batting, Deanna Jennings.
Lineup flips for Deanna Jennings. She's looking to slap on the first. Her opening swing, by the way, ruled an error on Ranchez. It was a hard hit ball, but there is an expectation for Ranchez, and that results in the error. A tough luck one. That one's right up the middle, and there's no play to be made. However you want to slice it, Deanna Jennings has been on base twice.
Umpires talking amongst themselves, looks like. There'll be a pitching change here going on for Iowa State.
Coach Pink wanting to play some matchups along with Kate Sinnott. So a change in the circle for the Cyclones. Everything and anything against the top 10 team.
Defensive change for Iowa State. Now pitching number 22, Tatum Johnson.
Tatum Johnson, who's already been involved in the action today, will slide into the circle. Had 12 appearances last year for Iowa State. ERA of 4.82, a record of 2-3. 5 strikeouts as well. And Coach Pink told us, hey, she's looked really good in the spring. That was more in reference to her efforts with the bat, but now she will go against Tapia, who is 1 for 1 today with a double. So Iowa State saying, hey, that first matchup didn't go our way. Let's change something.
I think it also talks about not just wanting to change things up, but the confidence that they have in Johnson now. She only had 20 innings all year last year, and already we're seeing her against a top 10 team coming out early in the game. That tells me they want to see something from her on the mound. They want to see what she can do, how she can prove herself.
Has as many as 4 1/3 in any one outing. That's her career high. So she can go for a little bit if game conditions call for it. Drops that one down low. But this is more of that opener, middle reliever style play that we see in baseball. We talked about it yesterday, how softball has really migrated over to that. It's a 4-pitch walk, though, and Giselle Tapia does the job. The bases are full of Blue Devils.
Stepping to the plate, third base, number 4.
With their home run queen in the batter's box. Gold taking on the first pitch, making Johnson find the strike zone. She eventually does. Gold hits it well and finds the grass. Baker scores. And Duke, with 2 outs, create some instant offense.
That right there is a perfect example of what Duke is trying to do. They get their runners on, they're trying to hit the ball hard, trying to find those gaps. It's exactly what didn't happen yesterday. They just couldn't find those holes, but several hits like that for them before. It's good to see them dropping and seeing them find a groove for themselves.
2 outs, activates the runners on the swing, too. So both Deanna Jennings and Baker come across, and it's 4-0 Blue Devils. Good bend back towards the zone there for Tatum Johnson. A few more pitches like that will be required to get Claire Davidson and end this inning. 2 runs in each of the first 2 here for Duke. Missed the release point there.
I think it's one thing to find yourself in the fall. It's another whenever you've been working so hard for an opportunity and you finally get put in. Might be a little bit of nerves.
All the way to the fence from Claire Davidson. She brings in 2 more, a 2 RBI double. 6-0 Blue Devils.
And that's it right there. There is that gap that we talked about. So deep. You had runners on first and second, and they were able to come around and score. As an outfielder, you cannot allow anything to get across the plate or get into the gap and get past you.
2 strikes, 2 outs, and Claire Davidson cleans it up. Remember, the first 2 PAs in this second inning were both outs, a fly out and a pop-up. And then, since then, 5 straight base runners, constituting 4 hits and a walk, and 4 runs scored. Life comes at you fast. You know, Vega went down and got that one somehow. It's just a foul ball, but that thing was almost in the dirt. She's got a good golf swing on it.
Hey, when everybody in the lineup is hitting, you want to join in on the action. You get a little excited.
2-2. You're seeing a sophomore learning in real time right now. And this is the important part for Iowa State, independent of the result. You want to win every game you play, right? But when you're going up against a top 10 team this early in the year, you talked about it earlier, it's about getting right for when you start Big 12 play. Especially because Iowa State, as they seem to always do, opens up Big 12 play against Oklahoma. That will go 3-4. Davidson turns and scores. It's a 5-run frame for Duke, all with 2 outs. These Blue Devils are clutch.
That has to be one of the best stats, I think, you can look at to judge how good is the team, how scrappy are they when the going gets tough. What can they do with 2 outs? And this one just hit so hard, just rips right past Andrews. No time to be able to field or defend that one.
Now batting for Duke, number 3, the catcher.
Duke will have brought all of their batters to bear here in the second frame. It's Kelly Torres. Kelsey Zampa on deck. She led things off here in the second. And that one, a blast into right. Wow.
No, Coach Pinkerton brought in Johnson wants to give her this experience, and she's definitely getting a learning lesson here. This one, screwball that didn't get in enough, left over the plate. And you could see that Torres was able to just oppo shot that one. Excuse me, Vega.
Here's Zampa watching strike 1. Kelsey flew out to Ochoa to begin this inning. Sanchez across the diamond to end the frame. But it's 5 runs on 6 hits with no margin for error. The Duke Blue Devils have blown it wide open.
Iowa State, nothing.
All smiles right now for this Duke team. And why not? Amina Vega's side up big. And what a welcome for your transfer pitcher. Hey, it's your first start for us. We're going to spot you a 7-run lead here in the bottom of the second. Just go out there and do your thing.
Corey, I think we're on the same wavelength here. I was just thinking, man, how nice it feels to be able to come out, get your job done inning 1, but then have your team support you with multiple inning run scores. Oh yeah, you're up. You're up by a lot in the second inning.
Leading it off in the bottom of the second inning for Iowa State. Catcher 24, Camille Mare.
Camille will try and get it rolling. It's 6, 7, 8 here for the Cyclones. Line 1 for 3. Also had a sac fly yesterday. Hit that one in a perfect spot. That's a leadoff single for Iowa State. And look, when you're down 7, that's all you can do. There's no 7-run swing.
That one, a little bit of the Bermuda Triangle. You had left, center, and shortstop all converging at the same time, especially early on in the season. That can be difficult. Everybody's learning each other. Don't know who has it. The sun's overhead at this time. You're seeing some defenses start to shake some things out, get rid of some rust.
That's probably the thing that comes last, right? You know, yesterday we were talking, is it pitchers or hitters that get going first? And there's going to be that eternal debate, but I think the final thing that comes, at least in softball, is defense, just because the game is so fast.
I mean, we've seen Iowa State make a few errors in that first inning. Definitely would have prevented 1 run to score, maybe even both of those that Duke scored in the first inning, but they haven't been able to be on the field. The way the dirt hops, the way the ball hops off of the dirt compared to the turf is completely different. The hops look different, the speed looks different. So they're getting used to being able to play on a field in real time, in game time. They haven't had the luxury of some teams of being able to practice on the field, and Duke, same thing.
Fortunately, it had largely been a nice weather winter. That does tend to change in a hurry. It can get pretty cold up in Ames. Nebraska had about 20 inches of snow on their field, though they were actually able to get some dirt on it, cover it up, and be able to play outside. So, weather permitting, these teams find a way. And fortunately, once you get to Puerto Vallarta, that is no longer a concern. Lifted up with a lot of carry to center field. It's gone! Ashley Miner, a major swing, and the Cyclones are back in it.
That was a massive bomb, dead center. I feel like that's where most of the home runs have gone, and you can see her getting pumped up by her teammates as she comes back into the dugout. This one, a screwball that was left over the plate, not even a full swing, almost just getting to extension, and that's all she needed as she trotted around those bases. I love to see her teammates' reaction as she comes into home. We talked about how Iowa State, they were getting hits, they were getting on base. They weren't able to convert and score that first inning, but their presence was felt. Well, you said there could be a 7-run swing. How about a 2-run swing?
How about a 2-run swing? Ashley Miner, 2 home runs last year, but Coach Pink called it. He said, hey, she has the most raw power on her team. It's just a matter of being able to cultivate it. She did right there to the longest part of the yard at Nancy Almaraz Stadium, and it's a 7-2 lead for the Blue Devils. McKenna Andrews down 0-2. And Ogunmola bounces back with a strikeout.
Great response there, not just to Iowa State, but to her teammates. Hey, you guys scored the runs for me. I gave that up. I got your back right here. Comes back with a strikeout.
Galigosi steps in for the first time, the 9-hole hitter for Iowa State, watching ball 1.
That changeup has been lethal. 2 different speeds. One, maybe a little bit faster, 1 to 2 miles an hour faster, but it stays flatter, little floaty. But that second changeup, little bit slower, and it has a late break. Just an inch, but that's all she needs to get those swing throughs.
Just a half-hearted swing, but that's all it takes. Back-to-back Ks.
And that's the response right there. Home run, okay, I'm going to strike out the next 2. We are still up 7-2. There is no rush. There's no need to panic. Calm, cool, collected. I love that.
Miller watching. A strike come home to Malaysia Ochoa. Ochoa just kind of shakes her head.
I feel like her first at bat and even this second one here, she's not loving the pitches that she's getting. She doesn't know quite what to do with them.
Gold couldn't quite knock it down, and once it got to Baker, it was too late. The speed of Malaysia Ochoa.
But the advantage of being a lefty, and we've talked about this with some coaches, whenever you're hot swinging, you're hot. But if you're not, all right, let's try the slap. Let's see what it does, and vice versa. The ability to have that versatility is a game changer.
Especially for the players like Malaysia who can take your traditional slap and turn it into a power slap. And all of a sudden, you're running and getting a head start on what's a double a good chunk of the time. Angelina Allen screws that one off the bat to Baker and closes the frame. Still, the 2-run shot by Ashley Miner at Iowa State awake this morning. Still down 5.
Iowa State, 2 runs, 3 hits. No errors, 1 runner left on base. We move to the top of the 3rd. It's Duke 7, Iowa State 2. Never miss a game with FloSoftball. You can watch today's event live along with all other FloSoftball events for the rest of the season. Visit FloSoftball.tv.
Blue Devils off to a strong start. Iowa State, though, finding their answer. And Tatum Johnson will head out for her first full inning of work. And how's this for confidence in a sophomore? Comes in and is never really able to settle in, sees that huge surge by Duke. And Kate Sinnott decides, along with Coach Pink, hey, you're going right back out there, Tatum. Go get him. Meanwhile, on that Duke side, successful teammates letting everyone know, hey, here's what you're going to need to see. This will be the last 3 hitters, the ones we see here, that have not faced Tatum Johnson already. In Freelick, Baker, and Jennings. Tapia was the first to work the walk.
Leading it off to the Blue Devils, number 13, designated player, Francesca Freelick.
Freelick, first pitch swinging, holds up long enough for Malaysia.
Cho already out there. You can see the shades on. By this time, the sun is overhead in this stadium, and it is hard to see whenever the ball gets over a certain height. It is hard to see in the outfield for your middles. So being able to track that all the way in, communicate whenever you can't see, that's going to be huge for this defense as the day goes on and as this game goes on.
The real leaders for Duke steps in, Jada Baker. Led by example today. Carmen did re-enter, by the way. That's her behind the plate. But just came in to run briefly. It is up 3-0. No reason to swing at that. 4-pitch walk.
A little surprised Coach Pinkerton left Johnson in to restart this inning, but I would imagine she has a pretty tight leash. She scored some runs. It's still early enough in the game. You want to hang on. You're hitting the ball. You're seeing the ball well off of Duke. You want to still give yourself a chance.
shown, brought back. Part of it's definitely, like we were talking about, getting ready for Big 12. And the other is just kind of evaluating what you have. I think Iowa State has a really good feel for their roster, but this is an invaluable chemistry experiment here where you can put together different elements and see what combusts against the top 10 team. Stays alive. Did see just about the whole pitching staff in yesterday's game for Iowa State on the other end of the game script. They were up big and took the opportunity. Busy times there behind the plate right now. They're doing a good job.
And again, it's all about what you can do to save an extra 60 feet. And that right there, save 60 feet.
Anna Jennings put it 5-6 hole, there's no play. Lightning out of the batter's box.
But even though that was a swing, think about it from the perspective of how far or how hard this field is. If there's 3 bounces between the ball off the bat and into the fielder's glove, and you're decently fast, you should be safe. That one took 4, maybe even 5.
A slapper's paradise, and Deanna Jennings is taking advantage. Six ABs so far here in PV, and Deanna's been on base 4 times.
Not a bad way to start off your year.
No. Any concerns about a sophomore slump going by the wayside thus far for a top 10 hitter last year? Almost natural to have some regression from that, but not so for Deanna Jennings.
I think the hardest part whenever you hear about the sophomore slump and you're starting to see a lot of freshmen start their first year of college and they get that experience and they play so free because there's no expectation. Girls that walk there, but to be able to maintain that feeling of, I'm just playing, I'm free, I don't have any expectation, I just want to be here to play. That is such a difficult thing to hang on to, especially in this day and age when you have social media, you have media outlets, you have fans, you have your parents, you have your friends, you have your own personal expectations. And it's really hard to juggle all of that. So I think that says a lot to her mental side of the game and the way that she approaches it. Of, you know what, it's still just a game. It's not that serious.
Pink's got the lineup card out. Whole lot of changes to be made, including one in the circle. Gave Tatum Johnson 1 full run through. +1, seeing Tapia twice. Still all smiles on that Duke side. Coach Young's group got in late a couple days ago and got greeted with the Oklahoma Sooners out of the gate, but now after a good night's sleep in Puerto Vallarta, they were ready to go from the word go. And so the Cyclones turn to Aziza Rodriguez, the freshman, coming in against the top 10 team. And well, we were just talking about how you can play free as a freshman, play loose. There's a wide margin here. You don't have to worry necessarily about every single pitch. But that said, bases loaded top 10 team is a tough, tough spot for Aziza Rodriguez.
It's a tough spot, but you can see what Coach Pinkerton's thinking about in this game. He's thinking about the experience. He's thinking about the exposure. Plus, two of his main pitchers threw a lot of balls yesterday. There's still a ton of games to be played throughout the weekend. In preseason, you go from 0 to 100 quick. A lot of girls, their arms aren't used to it. You don't want to ride your pitchers too hard, too fast, and get them gassed or even worse, injured. So being able to manage, yes, we want to win games, but being able to manage those pitch counts, being able to manage your staff well.
Aziza Rodriguez, the first pitch of her Iowa State career, will hit gold and bring in a run. Forged by fire, indeed.
Now batting left fielder Claire Davidson.
There's the first strike for Rodriguez. Hit well, a lot of carry. There it is for Claire Davidson. A 6 RBI day. How about the super senior?
How about that indeed? See-ball, hit ball. By the time you get to be a super senior, it's just that easy. That ball elevated over the middle of the plate. And then from there, it's an easy home run. I think it's worth mentioning, Gold actually missed second, had to run back and touch it. And you could see Davidson slow down just a little bit to allow her teammate to go back before she continued her home run trot. But like you said, all smiles here in the Duke dugout. I think they more than established that they are a team that has the bats. And whenever they fall hard.
Rodriguez fielding her position well. Aziza's such an interesting story, Nicole, because she didn't play high school softball. Fully working through the travel and the club circuit. And I think in a lot of sports, that would almost be a guaranteed no-go. You see it every once in a while, but softball might be the one, right? Just because the club culture in this sport is so strong, you can get some really, really good experience playing club softball, as obviously pretty much everyone at this level does.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same experience myself. I was homeschooled growing up. Never played a day of high school ball in my life, but it's all about travel ball. That's where you're going to get recruited. Being on the right teams, on travel ball teams, going to the showcases, playing well, not just physically, but what's your attitude like in front of college coaches? That's what they look at, and they see it most of the time at travel ball tournaments.
looped into right. Kelly Torres goes to first. She's the other end of that equation. She was going to Duke camp since she was in 8th grade. So even if you're not necessarily playing high school ball, you get yourself in front of coaches, you begin that relationship. And, well, you can see Kelly Torres currently wearing a Duke uniform.
I mean, you think of players like Sis Bates, went to UW camps ever since she was a little girl. Kelsey Stewart, she was going to Oklahoma camps since she was a little girl. Kaylee Clifton. I mean, there's stories all around. You have your local girls who have this team that they love, and they get to go to camps, and the coaches see them evolve. They get to know them, and they get to know who they are as people and not just athletes. And I think that's a huge thing as well. It's a part of that trust factor. It's a part of that culture factor that is so big for teams, because you could have the most talented athlete out there, and yes, she will be productive and she will produce, but if the team doesn't click with her, they'll never be as good as they could be if they did.
Yep. Looped up and out. That chemistry, that relationship component might be more important than ever now because of the transfer portal. When it used to be, all right, that relationship off, but you know, you text every once in a while. Now all of a sudden, that text can come in and say, "Coach, I want to play for your team." It just completely changes the dynamic of year-over-year relationship management that was already pretty important.
Rodriguez with that nice off speed on the outside corner. Love to see her mixing up that speed pitch before, up and in. Just really working the zones here. And it's hard to do with these Duke hitters, as you see. You can mix up your speeds, you can go to different levels, you can mix up your zones, but they still have been hitting the ball so well.
Low roll and just in time to spell hog. So Aziza Rodriguez does eventually come in and slow the roll, but a Claire Davidson grand salami as the Blue Devils up 10.
Here's a fun little stat. In 3 innings, Duke has swung at the first, either the first pitch or the second pitch 11 times.
Wow. Duke Blue Devils consistently aggressive and showing it here in Puerto Vallarta. Bouncing back from the tough loss against Oklahoma to a 10-run lead against Power 5 competition. This Duke team, we talked about it yesterday, probably a little bit underrated when it comes to the initial preseason poll. And that will most likely change come the end of this weekend here in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Yeah, they keep playing like this. They keep having quality games. Their rankings should definitely continue to go on the rise, continue to shoot up. They have so much power, and they have such a great staff that on their own they could handle a game. But whenever you have pitchers that can handle the game, they can come in as a starter, come in as a reliever, that opens it up to so much more versatility, to matchups, to having your staff be less exhausted, and being able to spread the workload evenly. Because at the end of the day, a lot of teams start hot. But postseasons, whenever your legs give out, mentally you're tired, physically you're tired. It's who's going to be the freshest, who's going to be able to maintain as you try to grind through that last month of the season. Duke's well on their way to being able to share that load equally and continue to ride, keep their bodies fresh.
That's where Iowa State really thrives too. We talked about it, that 12 of 17 stretch, W's at the end of last year. That's just become a thing under Coach Pink. This team finishes strong. You get challenged early and show your mettle late. Well, they're certainly being challenged early. Sanchez, 2-1.
Spoke on it earlier, but the difficulty to go from being a good team to a really good team or a great team, not easy.
No.
Great pitch there. But once you make that leap, your thinking changed. The way you perceive the game changes. The way you approach practice changes. And I think Iowa State for the past couple of years, they're right there. They have those moments. But it's just learning that you can't be hot just in postseason, but you have to have some quality games in regular season to get that experience.
That's good experience right there for Sanchez, her first hit of the day. A couple of defensive changes to note for you as well. Sarah Goddard is now hanging out in right field, coming in for Zampa. Maya Burgess is in left. DP / pitcher, Tatum Johnson. That Iowa State dugout still giving her support as she fouls that one off.
And you talked about it, Iowa State, their team that stays up, they're constantly in the game. Doesn't matter if they're up, if they're down, it's beginning, the end. They're constantly locked in, and I love that from them. And the ability to take it one bat at a time and not surrender those at-bats because, we're down 2-12, but this isn't at bat. I want to make the most of it. I want to be locked in. It doesn't matter about anything else up until this pitch that's about to come my way.
That's a pretty good one. Johnson reached out and sent it to center. A
flare will always work. Doesn't matter how you get on, it just matters that you do. And it doesn't matter if you get on, it just matters if you get hit around. So that's what Iowa State is working on right here. That's their mentality. See Duke getting together right now, just knowing it doesn't matter if they get a hit or another, but how can we get outs? Let's go for the lead out. Maybe if we get something on the ground, let's look to turn 2. But we want to get outs. We have runs to give up, to surrender if we need to. No need to stretch and try to get the force at third when a throw to first would be a lot easier.
See that conversation? Exactly that. Talking strategy. Getting ready to face Carly Spellhog.
First base, number 1, Carly Spellhog.
Spellhog, a mainstay in the lineup for this Iowa State team pretty much since the moment she got to Ames. Started 128 straight games before an injury in 2022. Dealt with injuries last year too. It's good to see her healthy and in the opening 9 here for I-State. Also the first
Got
year in a
her
while
on
she
that
hasn't had a
check
sister on the
swing.
team. Ellie Spellhog, a huge piece of this Cyclones team. Now, down to 1 Spellhog in Ames, Iowa. He's underneath that one. Rogan Miller bounces back again.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Spellhog.
Now batting the catcher, 24,
Neal did get on base
Merritt.
before Miner had the home run. And watch this ball 1.
Starting to see 3 quick balls in a row. Whenever your team scores a lot of runs, it's great. But as a pitcher, it can also be difficult because you're just sitting around. Knowing how to not only stay warm physically, but stay in the game mentally and not check out for too long before you come back out.
In addition to, you know, a lot of pitchers can be adrenaline junkies, right? Riding the moment. Not quite as intense when you're up 10, and so accordingly, Marin takes the walk.
This is when you see Baker come in, just talk to her teammate, say, hey, you got this, let's reset. Any base here, we have runs to spare. I think that should be the main message. We're good, just go at them. If they get a hit, they get a hit. But odds are you're pitching against their hitting. Duke's saying, I think you got it, right?
Freshman Isabel Nosen will come in. Another one they're excited about. And speaking of routinely going to camps, that's where she got introduced to Coach Pink and this staff, an ISU camp. The uber talented freshman from Rosemont, Minnesota. As you get a change in the circle, we'll step aside.
Defensive change for the Blue Devils. Now in to pitch number 2, Sophie Gardner-McKinnon.
Sophie Gardner-McKinnon will come in here for the Duke Blue Devils, a sophomore coming off a 2.05 ERA in her freshman campaign, a record of 5-1. 44 and a third innings pitched. She struck out 20, walking 18. Had 18 appearances last year. And we'll get one here against the Cyclones of Iowa State.
Message here for her is, hey, you got this. You can see the slap on the back by Torres. Nothing but confidence. High five smiles. Nice little conversations there. But Iowa State threatening a new pitcher, having to come in mid-inning, settle in with bases loaded, less than 2 outs. This is their moment. If they want to get back in this game, this is where they have to break through.
First pitch leads to a strike on the foul ball. Miller's line as it sits is 2 1/3. 6 hits, conceding the 2 runs, 5 Ks, 2 walks. Sophie Gardner-McKinnon is up 0-2 in her first batter faced this year.
One down. One down.
Burgess eyes for it and makes the play at the fence. Ranches tags up and does come home. It's a sac fly for Ashley Miner, her 3rd RBI today.
Now batting second base, number 6.
Miner, a little bit of that check swing that we saw, similar to Davidson's home run, her grand slam. Maybe a little bit more extension through that ball, and that carries an extra 5 feet. Because, I mean, like you said, Burgess was at the fence, arms fully extended.
That's to Baker to close the frame. Still, Iowa State does keep the offense going. They've scored in back-to-back innings. They've got to try and keep Duke off the board.
College sports evaluation is on the cutting edge. Sports analytics, founded in 2020 by the owner of Triple Crown Sports, Dave King. CSE provides youth and collegiate athletes with verified sensor data, trusted by and tested with over 200 college programs. CSE's team
Duke Blue Devils playing well on the front end of their doubleheader day. Remember, they've got the Nebraska Cornhuskers coming up right after the conclusion of this one. A team that, a lot like this Duke squad, gonna come in hungry. A tough loss on day 1. Looking to bounce back here as the second part of the morning session here in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Still see smiles from Iowa State, enjoying the moment, enjoying the game, trying to get back in it, trying to get in, get out really quick.
First full inning of work slated for Aziza Rodriguez here.
Defensive change for Iowa State.
Marinette come in and out of the game. So we get a new catcher here. Maddie Knowles behind the plate now for Iowa State.
Leading it off for the Blue Devils. Number 5, Mia Burgess.
There's Amaya Burgess. And if history is any indication, this is a Duke freshman. That's usually a good phrase. We've talked consistently about it. Arner McKinnon's just the most recent example. Something about that opening year in Durham tends to go really, really well. And Burgess, a elite prospect, is now at her dream school in Duke.
And you love to hear those stories where a girl grows up and she sees this team, she sees the way they interact, she sees, oh man, this is a new program, they're coming out, they're doing something. And to be able to have that dream come true and be a part of that team that, who knows, 2024 is wide open, but every year Duke has gotten better and better. To be a part of that team, that's incredible. And it's, I think, the best feeling ever is knowing, man, I get to be a part of this legacy. I get to create some of this Duke legacy.
Burgess gives it a ride to right. Amaya Burgess comes into the game, comes into her debut, and goes yard. Something about these Duke freshmen.
Oh, baby. This was a big, big swing there. I love to see that. Just talked about, this is a dream.
Shortstop, number 25.
And all of a
Gina
sudden,
Baker.
you get your moment, your time to shine. You get the opportunity. Coach says, you know what, I'm calling your name. Go in. And all you do is see the ball and send it far, far over the fence.
Jada Baker gets out of the way of the first. It is unreal. You know, we call those plays storybook because they don't happen all that much. It feels like you have to write it. And yet what? That's the third or fourth freshman we've had in this tournament, Nicole, that's gone yard in one of their first two at-bats.
I mean, I think the conversation that we had yesterday is so relevant to what you just said of freshmen aren't coming in and they're waiting in their seniority, so I won't get to play until they graduate. Doesn't matter if they're better or not. They're coming in and they're saying, if I get a chance, I'm ready to take it. I'm ready to run with it. I'm ready to make that my own position. I'm ready to make an impact. I think that's what you're seeing from these freshmen here at this Puerto Vallarta tournament.
Baker in control of this one. And he hits it perfectly down the line. The Blue Devils were a little bit due after some balls found Oklahoma gloves. Now it is nothing but dirt, grass, and open spaces for this top 10 team.
That brings Duke's total of pitches swung in the first two to 12. But prior to that, in the first 3 innings, Duke has had 11 first two pitch swings. Iowa State, on the other hand, they've only had 4 in the first 3 innings. So you can see the difference in aggression and attacking the ball.
Jennings will see a nice play from Minor.
that also comes with, yes, they've had a lot more pitches. They've had a lot more girls go through the
And
lineup.
batting
They've
first
had more
pitch, number
turnover.
29.
Where Iowa State, they've had
Giselle
less
Tapia.
chances to get those at bats, but I think those at bats are given by that aggression.
It's definitely that perfect blend. Jump on youth early, and there's another example of it, combined with just the natural desire. And Duke talks about this a lot. They want to push boundaries. And in the one sense, they of course mean that on the softball diamond, like you talked about. Swing early, run those steals behind it, run a lot of called plays. But even off the softball diamond, they're really, really big on that, whether it be a social justice message, it's incredibly important to Coach Young, or even within this program, embracing emotion. It's been tough times, there's no question about it, and whether it be an injury or off the field strife, but this Duke team in particular has embraced that emotion, talking to each other and not stigmatizing needing to talk to somebody else about something. Gloved up. That's called doing a job. Tapio had another run.
Can't complain with a nice little RBI there. That was a good snag by Spellhog over at first. Made the quick out.
Now batting.
That run
Third
scored.
base, number 4.
Duke, they
Anna
just keep
Gold.
adding on and on and on.
Anna Gold, who's been perfect today. 2 free passes, 3 RBI.
You can see it whenever she steps in the plate. It looks like controlled aggression. She's looking for something to hit hard. She's ready to pounce on it. But she has control of her body. If it's not that, she doesn't want to swing.
Gosi in right to conclude the but second straight crooked number for Duke. 2 runs on 2 hits. Thanks to a freshman home run, Burgess starts it out and goes yard for the Blue Devils. Tapia adds another as well. Blue Devils on the doorstep of 1-1. Duke doing all the right things here, getting ready for their second game of the day as well, where they will take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Sophie Garner-McKinnon remains in the circle for Duke. Iowa State still enjoying the vibe here in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Their tournament far, far from over. They will take on the Washington Huskies at 4 Central on Saturday, and Long Beach in our lone Sunday morning contest. Big game Sunday, particularly for those in Ames. There's a pretty direct tie-in to the evening affair. A slap biz from Wardlow coming in, and so far so good for Garner McKinnon. Lydia 1 for 1 yesterday. RBI and a run scored and a walk. Productive day. Batting 1,000, on basing 1,000. She's the replacement for Kaylee Gosey here in the 9th spot. Chopped over to Gold. Tapia for the out.
Top of the order for Iowa State.
Third time through starts from Malaysia Ochoa.
0-0 Malaysia Ochoa.
Big hack there from Ochoa. For first time seeing SGM in this one. Strikeout and a single against Rodimo. Little rise right there. And comes up top and gets strike 2. Little too much rise that time. High is good, too high. And even though it's the most tantalizing pitch of the sport, most times it'll be laid off.
Screwball nice, painting the outside corner.
Ochoa chops it up. Garner McKinnon is a little low, but Tapia helps the youngster out.
Left fielder, number 23.
Duke team that doesn't use the transfer portal a whole lot. Their ability to recruit and develop is paramount. And there's some additional challenges when it comes to portaling at Duke, but they go and keep it in the ACC family and get themselves a real good player, Giselle Tapia. Brings that one back.
That was a hard swing there. Sanchez, she liked that elevated pitch. She wants to go after it. Just missed underneath.
That one looped right up the middle. Angelina Allen, Mo, as they call her in the clubhouse, her second hit today.
Shortstop, number 5.
Nothing but smiles either. But I'll take that second hit. I'm happy with that.
Absolutely. Chess looking for the exact same thing. One hit today in search of the second. And she's first pitch swinging. Iowa State taking a page out of the Duke playbook, and Tiana Jennings says nope. That is how the inning comes to an end. Talking about a moment ago, that ability of Duke to recruit and develop. Tiana Jennings has developed.
Bottom of the fourth inning for the Cyclones. No runs, one hit, no errors. There was one runner left on base. We move to the top of the fifth inning. It's down the Blue Devils. 14, Cyclones 3. Triple Crown Sports would like to recognize and thank the Sheraton Bougainville, which has been a valued partner of Triple Crown Sports over the many years. Thank you, Sheraton and staff, for your continued hospitality during the Puerto Vallarta College Challenge.
Duke Blue Devils have done it all day long. And now they go to this fifth inning, slated to end it in 5. They get some insurance on top of the already sizable lead. Duke's up 14-3 and will bring the heart of their order to bear. Normally too, where you'd see maybe some youngsters come in, but for Duke, they're pretty much all young players. I mean, you have the 15 letter winners back after departing basically 8 of 9 starters the year before. So the youth is the core for this Duke team. We've already seen Burgess come in and make an impact. Then you've got Tapia, who's the grad student. I mentioned the portal a moment ago. I should say she is of that age where you used to see the grad transfer. But no, she was Duke commit through and through. Was the highest recruited player in Duke history at the time. Coach Young has continued to elevate this program. As that one gets away. Couple of defensive notes for you, by the way. Wardlow's going to stay in this game and play second base and out in right field. Tiana Poole. That one's hit well. Claire Davidson gives it a ride at one hops the fence. Claire Davidson, 2 doubles and a home run. 6 RBI. Career day for Claire Davidson.
Duke talked about the importance of being able to have their players feel the confidence pouring out from the coaching staff. But from a coaching staff perspective, I don't know what confidence I need to give you, because you have dominated this game 14-3, a double off the fence, hung in with one of the best, with right now the best team in the nation, in a 3-0 game that was tight pretty much the whole way. There's a lot of confidence if I'm on the Duke team as I start my season moving forward.
They'll carry that over into this matchup against Nebraska. half an hour after the conclusion of this one. Duke will come right back and go to work against another top 25 caliber team. By the way, for Claire Davidson, her previous career high in RBI was 5. She passed that a minute ago on that home run grand slam in the third. Claire Davidson takes third.
So liked what Coach said about her team as they headed into this tournament, knowing they have some pretty big games slated for them. Yes, there's going to be excitement.
They got just over the head of Wardlow. Another run for the Blue Devils.
There's going to be excitement. There's going to be adrenaline. There's going to be nerves in a good way. But how do they get those butterflies in order? And instead of flying all around, how do they get them to fly in a line? How do they get them to fall and do what you want them to do? And I feel like Duke, just from watching them these first 2 games, they've done just that. They don't look out of place. They don't look like the moment's too big for them. But they've been able to handle everything really well in stride.
Kelly Torres fouling out of play. Torres will have a chance to tie her career high in hits here. Had 4 against CBU. She's got 3 thus far. Reached out on that check swing and sent it to Ochoa.
It can be tempting on those pitches. Oh, it's elevated, even though it's a little bit slower. I can get there, I can reach it. Kind of see a poke, but the count was favorable.
Sarah Goddard came in to play right field a moment ago. And now gets her first AB today. That one's in the dirt. Vega says thanks for second. Maddie Knowles taking over behind the plate here. With her young pitcher and Aziza Rodriguez. This is absolutely an educational experience for Iowa State. It doesn't feel good, but sometimes you're going to have these games in the preseason. There'll be a couple matchups over the course of the year where everything goes your way and some where nothing does, and there are valuable takeaways in both.
That tough love, not only do you learn from the feeling, you learn from the experience. You feel what that feels like, and you never want to go there again. You also have film, and in this day and age, we talked with Coach Pinkerton. They've implemented synergy into their pregame prep. They use it with their hitting, with their pitching. So to be able to go back and look at that video on there and break down those analytics and see, okay, if this had been a little bit lower, that might have missed her barrel. If I had done this pitch sequence, it might have been a little bit better to my strength instead of the hitters.
That's hit well. A brief bobble will be enough. Vegas coming home to score.
a nice solid
Now
line
batting,
drive.
number
Oppo,
5,
it's on the
Maya
corner. Doesn't try to
Burgess.
do too much, but Torres just takes it where it's hit. Not trying to overswing. And that's what I think we've seen from Duke all game. There hasn't been too many, save for Davidson's grand slam and Baker's home run. But there hasn't been too many where I feel like the swings have felt absolutely massive. We also had Freelick and Burgess. They had the home run. To be able to keep yourself in the zone, control your swing, know who you are as a hitter, and stay true to that, that's what gets you that 16 run up on that scoreboard.
You're seeing the full toolkit right now for Burgess. You mentioned the home run she had, but she was looking to slap in the first, stands in and takes the second pitch. Punt laid down, foul. Burgess showing wonderful patience for a freshman. Not all that surprising. The way Duke tends to have their newcomers come in.
Like you said, incredible patience, draws that walk. They're just taking it one pitch at a time. How can we be consistent in this pitch, in this at-bat?
Be a change in the circle here for I-State. Lauren Sherman out of the dugout and into the circle. From one freshman to another here. Jamie Pinkerton and Iowa State.
Defensive change for Iowa State. Now throwing the rubber, number 88, Lauren Sherman.
Iowa State's plan here, like you said, get that experience. Things are starting to snowball. Get another pitcher in there. Yes, get out of the inning. Get out of this so you can score a couple more runs, keep this game alive, but also you're going to have another young pitcher who's going to have experience. She's going to get to be able to see what this is like, to be able to face some really great hitters who right now are looking very disciplined and very hot at the plate.
Lauren did throw an inning yesterday. Did not concede a run. 1 hit, 1 walk. Got a good down ball, good changeup. Certainly a ground ball pitcher. First pitch from Skirman, high and away. Right as I say, she's a down ball pitcher. Couldn't quite nail that location this time.
Sometimes it just happens like that. You say it and then they hear you and they go, no, I'm just going to do the exact opposite.
That one,
There you go.
much more in line.
You're like, there it is.
Gary. And it's Blue Devils at the corners. Jada Baker keeps the good going. Her third hit today.
Baker has been looking good at that 9 spot. Tell you what, I've been impressed with a lot of these 9 holes. They've been rolling over those lineups. They've been doing such a good job of not just rolling it over, but getting good quality hits, having good at-bats, seeing a lot of pitches, making those pitchers work just for them to get on.
Deanna Jennings still looking to bunt. Pop throw down to second. No chance.
Even now, Duke's still pushing the limits, still trying to give themselves every advantage, up 16-3. I'm still going to look and see, all right, if there's an open base, let me get someone there. If there's a possibility on this one swing, I can get 2 runs in instead of 1, I want to take it.
First stolen base for Burgess as a Blue Devil. Inside shot, Ranchez gets it over in time. Still, Duke adds another couple. Vega, Goddard, all Blue Devils this morning.
1 run on 3 hits, no errors, 2 runners left on base. We move to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's Duke 15, Iowa State 3.
Back here in the bottom of the 5th, Duke looking to keep their lead. They have scored every single inning. They are currently up 16-3 over Iowa State. Iowa State looking to get a couple runs across and continue this game.
Bottom of the 5th inning. For Iowa State.
At the bare minimum,
thing that I have been
22.
so impressed with Duke is just their consistency and being able to time and time again be solid, not just at the plate, but defensively. We've seen some really good plays from them, and their pitching staff has looked great as well.
A few more cracks at it for I-State. Get back, watch some film, be a part of the community in PV. One of the other elements that makes this tournament so great. Get ready for their matchup against the Washington Huskies tomorrow. We were talking about it last night. That's a Washington team that looks as good as ever. Coach Tarr may have shortened the roster a bit in terms of pure numbers, but at the end of the day in softball, if you've got 9 and a couple of pitchers, you can go a long way. slaps it down and finds the grass. Tatum Johnson's had a nice day on offense. That one, though, just beating the throw is Johnson. So it is a single, a double, and a walk today for Tatum Johnson.
See the reaction from everyone on the Duke field. They wanted that out. See a quick replay.
So Spellhog
Wrong
will come
play,
up.
but man, that one was a close one.
Seen some good defensive plays. That was a good example of just keeping it routine on the infield, making the throw over. And there, as that ball was right, basically at the exit to the infield, the throw nearly gets Johnson.
Seen that up pitch. Struggle to find that movement. It's more of an elevated pitch right now, less jumpy. I think if it can be lowered maybe a couple of inches, you'll start to see a couple of swing throughs from Iowa State. Could be a really deceptive pitch going off of that screwball that we just saw popped in there.
2-1 to Sophie Morris, the pinch hitter here. Local product for ISU out of Johnston, Iowa. Grew up an Iowa State fan. Began in Des Moines Area Community College. So Iowa through and through, and now coaching at her old high school.
Yet another example of what we talked about. Girls who grew up, saw that program, wanted to be a part of it, had those dreams realized.
Today, her pinch hit bid will be spoiled by Sophie Garner-McKinnon.
Now batting the catcher, 46, Maddie Knowles.
First day beat today for Maddie Knowles. Came in as the defensive replacement behind the plate. And Knowles watching a strike. Freshman Maddie Knowles. Great experience this past summer, getting to play in some National Youth All-Star game activity. And now she graduates from that to a top 10 team here in the NCAA.
And again, another player on the team that wants to feel that confidence, and it's easy whenever your team provides that padding of 16 runs for you.
Out swinging, back-to-back Ks after the double.
As a pitcher, your mindset right now is just go right at them. Throw my stuff, make them see it, make them hit it. You saw the swing throughs, you saw the confidence, little smile after the pat on the glove with the teammate.
Remember, right after the conclusion of this one, we'll step aside, collect our breath, and get ready for Duke, Nebraska. Likely see one of those big innings players for the Duke Blue Devils. So I'm trying to get in Coach Young's head. I think it'll be Jayla Wright. She didn't throw that much yesterday, but we'll see. Miner lifts it up. And the Duke Blue Devils have avenged their loss with a Power 5 victory in commanding fashion. All started in the very first inning. Couple of runs on a couple of hits, and then in the second, in earnest, 5 runs. And from that point on, the Duke Blue Devils never looked back. Very much looking the part of a top 10 team and dominating the front end of their doubleheader day here in Puerto Vallarta. Can't help but be impressed, Nicole, by what Duke brings to the table game in and game out.
The best part for me was the pitching staff, the hitting, the defense. Duke had everything working. All the cylinders were firing. And the base running, you can see the girls got a lot of runs in today. But they constantly made things happen, whether it was the home runs, whether it was the base hits. Time after time, they came through. Pitching, same thing as well.
Aggression, the headline for Duke today, and all those risks rewarded as they pick up the W. All right, we're going to step aside, flip things over here in PV, and get you ready for game number 2. It's Duke and Nebraska coming your way in just a beat right here on FloSoftball. What's up?
Hey.
Yep.
Yes.
Just about. They'll probably, they'll definitely change their pitcher, but other than that, yeah, they probably won't change too much. She might take Zampa out. Maybe, but other than that, it'll be about the same.
Did you get the Nebraska lineup?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be really similar. It'll be really similar. Well, no, I just mean like if we put it in as is and then we make like 2 changes, because that's the most there will be.
Yeah.
I mean,
it'll be
one
pretty much.
through 6 will almost certainly be the same. And then after that is where she might change it a little bit, but either way, however you want to do it, whatever's easiest for you all. Yeah, sure. Of course. Hopefully we get it in time. I was kind of chasing that first inning there because we didn't really get the lineups until it kind of got going. But if we can get Dukes, I can definitely go with you.
They're probably going to start at like 12:40, 12:45.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good to me.